but like a week ago, and all of a sudden I see you're down at Papa Joe's.
Hmm.
What happened?
Oh
You were
man.
at CNG
Yeah.
forever,
Yeah.
and 'cause I bought 3 guns from you,
Yeah.
and then it was like
God bless you,
the
man.
dude's at Papa Joe's now. Now you're operating
Yeah.
that. So did you buy that place or what?
No. So, oh brother. Um it's kind of a delicate story is what I'll say as far as that whole transition cuz like let me just say CNG is such a magical place, right? Like
Been there for forever.
I've been
Everybody.
walking through those doors since I was 10, and so that's hollow ground to me. It just is.
Yeah.
All of God's creation on the walls is there so that people create a newfound respect, and then they go, "Oh, I get it now."
Yeah.
Just a little bit more because we don't have a lot of those things, and so, bro, I was so pumped um, to be leading a legacy like that.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! And I've been shopping there since I was a kid. Um, but business is business. And we those 3 years that I got to run it, blessed and grateful to run it. There was an explosion in downtown Panama City just by benefit of streetscapes, all the investment. Um, and to be frank, a lot of the dreaming that people did after Hurricane Michael, some of that dreaming has been detrimental to our community. Some of that dreaming's been great. And I say that because there's this tendency to like drag your feet on the dreaming instead of just putting your boots on the ground and getting stuff done. So those 3 years there, I think would be hard for any business owner to sit back and give a good estimate of how this is going to be productive, how it's going to give you the best returns, what your ROI is, what and in ammunition and firearms, it's metal, it's gunpowder, it's raw materials. Like you've got to be on top of it. So extremely competitive um, market to be in, and so I was a part of that business with two bosses, and I was kind of like the sweat equity guy, kind of like what Dan has been for Alan, I would say for history class. You know what I mean? Like kind of earning your keep and then getting there, and that was kind of my mission. And so at some point, the music got changed on me. The track uh, as far as how business was going to be done without me knowing. So the headphones weren't on me, right? So some decisions were made, and then uh, through a turn of events, I ended up getting terminated. We'll just say, that's the professional classification for it. It doesn't have to be a big deal.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Are you?
Well,
You're like, what the what?
well, the whole thing was I was just gonna ask, and now I'm finding out. Well, there's actually a lot
Oh,
more to the
I
story.
got to unpack a lot of it for
Yeah,
you.
because I'm like,
Uh,
wow,
and I'm not doing
I
that
didn't
for
know any of this. I actually, so I
yeah.
stopped going to CNG. Well,
Yeah.
I stopped going to CNG during the election
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
reasons, and
Yeah.
I was kind of like a black sheep guy anyway because most of the guns that I
Absolutely.
can get, I bought my Bergara from there, Bergara, whatever,
Hmm.
and so I ordered that through there, and then I bought a couple of guns through Powder Room, but pretty much everything hunting.
Hmm.
If it regarded hunting, I was going to CNG because I
Bingo.
went and bought my hunting stand. You
Thank
remember
you.
when I came in, bought
Thank
the
you.
hunting
Yeah,
stand? You
of
gave me a
course, man.
badass deal on
Thank
that,
you. Yeah.
and but no, I didn't know
God.
that. I didn't know that I was asking an in-depth question. I thought you were just gonna be like, "Oh no, dude, doors opened up," and it
Well,
just like, then
I gotta
you're like, dude,
give.
there's a lot.
Well, and it's not like truly. It's not. I'm not expressing this for the juicy details of it. I've had enough time to process things, and um, and in truth, Christ through me has given me a lot of time and a lot of Oh man, just wisdom.
Well, I remember
Yeah,
doing like so I came back after being in the army and we went down to the farmers market. It was the first time
yeah,
I met you, and you had a tent set up out in front of CNG and you were doing coffee.
yeah, yeah.
And
Coffee and donuts every
I came
Saturday.
up and you're like, no man, it's free. And I was just like, or the coffee was free or
Yeah.
whatever. And I was like, you're
What?
just giving out free coffee? And you're like, who are you down here? Because you had Black Rifle Coffee
Yeah.
that was down there. I was like, are you like sponsoring Black Rifle Coffee? And you're like, no, I'm just here at CNG. You know, you come in, you know, take a look. And I would have never walked into CNG that
Yeah.
day if it wouldn't have been for that cup of coffee. And I walked in, I was like, man, they're starting to turn things around down there. And then it was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it's under new ownership
Mhm.
and then new management and
Yeah.
everything like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, sweet. And then I started going there for everything.
It was a buzz, man. It was
Yeah.
like being in a sitcom there every day. Because
Yeah.
the homies I got to work with, that I was blessed to work with, like these guys, they didn't need the job. They're older dudes,
Yeah.
you know, God bless them, but they're retired. They just love working at that hunting store, dude. And so what an amazing time to be down there. And that's why I referenced that in historic downtown PC and all that time, because you know, I got appointed to DIB. I got to learn a lot about that process, really, and I live in the Cove, so it was just became this hyper focused area of time and effort and just this area. But the reason why I'm telling you about that transition is because it's just been so transformative, man. Like
Yeah.
it just has. So after that, it was kind of it wasn't kind of, it was a shock. You've got to do a lot of things quickly whenever something like that happens professionally. So, you know, what do we liquidate? What's important? And then you finally start, after you know, kind of slow down after panicking, you start thinking about, well, what's the best decision to make? And then that weighs extremely heavy on you, way more so than the event, because now you're trying to make a decision for the rest of your future that you weren't even planning on. And that takes an immense amount of patience and trust. So um, David Chapman enters the picture. David Chapman owns Papa Joe's, but it's also managed by Royal American Hospitality, and I'm sure you know Royal American Construction Group,
Been around forever.
and the Chapman family, in general. So I taught David's sons at Bay High. So I was a teacher before.
You were a teacher?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What'd you teach?
Social science. That's my first love, is American history, and I got to charter a psychology program that I loved. Got to do African American history, philosophy, economics, all that. Human behavior, man, is just like, oh man, that's why this room is dope. So yeah, don't think I feel extremely comfortable in this room. Like I love this room.
Yeah, you know, my wife likes to decorate, so she's got the stuff throughout the house for fall. But other than that, it's kind of a man's room.
It is a man's room.
It's definitely.
Well, looking at the map too, I'm like, oh yeah, oh, we the people, great. Oh yes, wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain reference there, man, and so. But I taught his sons. I taught Mac and I taught David Jr. and great kids, great family. He was one of the first men to reach out to me after this event, maybe 2 days after it happened. My father passed in 2018. I still am able to talk to him whenever I'm in nature, whenever things are a little bit quieter, you know, through that relationship. But having a male reach out to me at that point in time, I mean, just
what
it was big. And
2018, your dad passed. What did he pass away from?
It was man, he just didn't take care of himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just didn't take care of himself. It was a slower process, but it was I had to take care of him, I think, about the last 5 to 6 years of his life. And so the other part of that is dad and mom weren't together after I was 3. And so dad came back into the picture when I was 18. Somehow, grace of God, I didn't have that much anger stored up for him at all. I don't know how to explain that, but I started learning who my father really was. And then towards the end of his life, I mean, I was his caretaker.
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell him I love you one more time, and I got to get him the best damn pizza that he wanted before, bro. But he passed in 18 like a true comedian that he was, bro. It was incredible. So, you know, things go down at the most inopportune times.
Oh, dude.
Right. I.e., we've got a category 3 right off our coast right now.
We got to talk about that too, because we are literally supposed to be evacuating right now, apparently. They're like, nah, dude, we're going to do this podcast.
Well, Tommy said it's all good. He's like, listen, the cone shifted, you know. So listen, if Tommy says it, then it's gold, in my opinion. We'll see, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's just a different lesson that God's trying to teach us personally.
Yeah. Where do you go to church?
First Baptist.
Okay, I get it. Well, we go to First Baptist on and off.
Yeah.
Because we're like back and forth between Lighthouse and First Baptist.
Yeah.
It really, I know like a lot of people are stuck on having a church home where it's like, oh, you go to this specific church every single Sunday. And it's like, for me, I'm like, it depends on where, like, and I know it's like, wherever God wants me that morning. Because I've gone to First Baptist Church on mornings where it was like, go to Lighthouse. Or we've actually gone to Emerald Coast Fellowship a couple times. Yeah. And then it was like, the message really didn't reach out to me. And then some days it'll be like, go to First Baptist, and I'll go there. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
That's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. 100%.
Listen, and
I don't think you should be nailed down to like one place. I mean, I grew up going to First Baptist, Gulf Beach Baptist, you know, kind of back and forth between those two. But
church family is important, man.
Church family is huge.
I don't think that, I'm not necessarily saying that like, oh, you've got to sign off on this organization with this tax exemption in this in this zip code for this area. That's not what I'm saying. But I have found that, so when I am able to speak to my Father, that's the Holy Spirit. It's also Father God. You know, when I get those little nuggets of wisdom when things are really quiet or I'm driving down Beach Drive, that's when the Holy Spirit's there. Another time I truly believe that the Holy Spirit is there is when you've got a really good church core family. That's why worship is so important too. And like, you can feel it, and you don't need anybody else or anything else to validate you, you know. And so you hang on to that, dude, as nobody else's but yours, you know. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I've had that, especially because I'm pretty big into running, rucking, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I go for, like, these long rucks, and I feel like sometimes I can just have, like, this overwhelming, emotional, like, catch up with stuff that's happened in the past, think about it, and then have that personal talk with God about what is going on at that moment that kind of lines up with other things. And it's like, that's the reason why when people are like, you know, there's different ways of reaching that connection. And so like some, you know, going to church and, you know, praise and worship, like that's like my wife's time. She has like this great connection, and it's great.
Yeah. And you get to see her in that and go,
and
wow.
That's great, you know, and that's kind of, that kind of keeps me going to worship service. I love going to Sunday school. Sunday school, it's open discussion. You get to talk.
History.
And you're diving more into the word rather than having something just like taught to you and just sit there and try to go on your own understanding. So like Sunday school is great. But my like end all be all, where I have that moment where it's just me and God, dude, that's out in the conservation park on like the back 6. So you get 6 miles into a ruck.
Yes, sir.
And you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, sir.
It's going to take 6 miles to get back to the parking lot. It's freaking 100
some weird call
outside.
In the background. You're like,
you're like, dude, this is where I need to be right now.
Yeah.
And you know, I can have those moments where stuff has been shown to me where it's like, hey, you're not handling this situation right, or you're headed in the right direction, or whatever is going on. And then, You can ask my wife. I've come back from rucks where I've been gone for like 4 or 5 hours, just
Yeah.
drenched, body's
Yeah.
broken, just ice bath ready for me. And I just sit there, and then she's like, you're just like acting like a different person. I'm like, I am a different person. Every
I
single
am.
time I
Yeah.
come back a different person.
Well, here's the
Like,
thing. Yeah. It's clarity. It is.
God working on you, man.
Yeah, dude. It is. It's clarity, and it's you talk about being out in nature and then putting pressure on your body. Um, to arrive at those answers, you're not trying to acquiesce. You're actively challenging
Mhm.
what should be challenged the way that you know how to, so that you can get those results faster and have a better life for your family, community,
Yeah.
and self, and ultimately in honor of whatever mission that has to be, whether it's politics, whether it's running a gun store,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's and to that point, like when that event happened, David, he calls me, he's like, hey, why don't you come out here this Saturday, and just hang out, just talk with me. And so I met him out there at Papa Joe's the following
Yeah.
weekend, and he was like, come on, man. I was like, what? And this is after we had the first initial conversation with how everything went down. And he was like, what do you think of just taking a break and trying to make this place something special for me? You can have fun out here. It's gorgeous. You could, create all, so essentially like a blank slate. I love entertaining folks. I mean, I don't know if it's entertaining necessarily, but I just love seeing a community pop with vibrance and fire and fellowship.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone into CNG and seen you down. It's always like this
Yeah,
upbeat,
we got to.
ready to get it done. And then it was, I mean, dude, you had me wait up at the gun store for like 5 hours for the, for
I
it to
know.
yeah. And I was like, but I mean, you kept it cool.
Yeah.
Like the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
Kept it real upbeat. So if you're doing the same thing for them, like I said, that was the reason why I saw it on Facebook, and I was like, dude's down at Pop Joe's now.
Yeah.
Like he's freaking
Well,
got your goofy ass hat on, and you're like, yeah, dude, get down here. And I'm like, what?
David offered me that a moment, bro. He really did, because he knew that I was looking towards education. He knew I was looking towards these other spots where I knew that I could be extremely successful personally. There is never going to be, and I'll stand on this one pretty much to the end of time. There will never be a return like teaching. You will never get that in your professional life. Maybe there are some services you could do, saving people's lives, that could probably trump that. But I would think that,
dude, my mom has been a teacher for 31 years.
Yeah.
She's been in the classroom for 31 years, making
you have
peanuts.
Yeah. But her soul, her spirit, everything is solid, nothing but love. And it's because you've got a contract with another human, and you can physically see improvements every day. It's not data. It's not analytics. It's not money. Thank God it's not money. It's another human that you should be improving. And so that type of fulfillment, no, you're not going to get that anywhere else. Technically, you shouldn't. And who was the ultimate teacher? Jesus. So it's like,
and sometimes it's those teachers, and like in my mom's case, my mom's always been like a music teacher. She was an English teacher for a long time, and she's always been kind of like in the arts. That's what her like master's degree is in, and like all that crap.
Yeah,
well, not crap, but you know what I mean.
Some of it's crap.
Whatever.
Some of it's crap.
Because but anyway, so she's always been into like these arts things, and I've always been like, it's just such. Once I became an adult, and like I kind of figured out how much like the cost of living is.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then of course I was brought up in a pretty rough part of town. Mm-hmm. So my dad was a carpet cleaner. My mom was a teacher. I grew up 2 blocks from the toy box. You know what I'm saying over there in
Yeah, baby.
St. Louis. So I mean, like that area was kind of, it wasn't horrible, but it was a little rough.
It
And
was
then
rough.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a rough area, and so I was like, man, dude, I don't understand. But then I get to go out. Like we went out to dinner last night, and we ran into people, and she taught this girl or whatever, and now that girl is like a nurse.
Hmm.
And then I run into sometimes, and then it's like, oh, this guy is now he's a fighter pilot, or now this guy is a, and it's like, if my mom, it's kind of funny because the arts, those art teachers,
Hmm.
whether it's music or any of that stuff, that's what keeps people motivated to stay in school a lot of times.
Expression.
Like for me, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have stayed in high school if it wasn't for band.
Hmm.
I think band is kind of like that thing that kept me in. I probably would have dropped out.
Outlet.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but like those things are important. But that's one of those where I look at my mom and I'm like, I don't understand why you do it. You don't make enough money. And then every single time we see somebody out in public, they go over what they're
Oh.
doing now. She
Oh.
looks at me and
Oh.
she goes, that's why. And then it's like, yeah, I
It's the
guess,
ultimate.
I guess that's,
It's the ultimate, dude. Because it's
yeah.
just it's evident. It's evident. You don't. Again, you don't got to
Have
back
you
it
thought
up.
about going back to teaching
Oh
or?
yeah. Oh yeah. So if, that's why he was really pushing me, bro, because he knew, But when I started applying, trying to get interviews, feeling what the atmosphere was like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy I'm not in it right now. I think it's really, really messy. I
Woke?
think no, 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 not even no, 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 no. I think Bay County does a good job of staying unwoke. I
Yeah.
gotta say that.
Yeah.
Thank God.
We got a
And
general as a superintendent.
oh, thank God.
You got an army
I
general.
love Mr. Mark McQueen. I got
Yeah,
to
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you, he and I worked really closely downtown, and I learned a lot about his true character after the storm. But he's got a hell of a job to do because he is replacing a superintendent that was historically there the longest amount of any time in the state of Florida. That is
Yeah.
going to present serious issues. As a
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
scientist, I'm just looking at it and going, you had a system in place. What do you think is going to happen? So now we're seeing the effects of that. You're seeing splintering of different services that our kids need, like special needs is lacking in that area. You're seeing issues where they're not hiring qualified teachers, right, to be there
Yeah.
because it's hard to be critical of something that I love, but you can see I've got some. I take issue with the way the system's being ran. It's going to take Mark more time, and I think once November rolls around, Mark is definitely going to be making some changes the way that he should,
Yeah.
as he should. But it's going to take time. And then you're
Yeah.
also talking about programming that's been in teachers, vets, how many years
Yeah.
now in our community. So it's going to be messy. And so that opened me up to just going, all right, fine. I'll send my prints. This was the only thing standing in between me and getting my certificate reinstated because I let it expire
Mhm.
like 6 months. It wasn't anything crazy.
Is it the teacher certification?
Yeah, it was just a recertification of everything.
Yeah.
All they needed was my prints. All my other stuff was good. And so this is why I was taking issue. I just needed to get my print sent to Tallahassee. I got completely denied by BDS, right? Highly effective, all 6 years, all that stuff, right? I got Golden Apple, all that. Like, never had any administrative issues, never had any disciplinary issues. Like, take a look at the record; it looks great,
Yeah.
They would not even help me get my prints to Tallahassee, and then kept going through this rigmarole of just policy for the sake of policy, and it didn't make sense. But you guys need teachers, and then I was just like, sorry, your system's wrong. I don't think I want to have any part in it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to have Tallahassee.
Why would they accept your? You don't even know why.
No, I know why. Well, I don't know the real reason. I just know that it was bureaucratic crap. Like either, oh, well, you didn't apply in time. Well, you didn't. You should have applied this way. Well, that position doesn't have the right clearance. Well, we can't give you an interview until your prints are sent. Well, we don't have your prints back yet, so we can like it was just
So
this.
the
I
teacher
can't.
certification is that big of a deal
Oh yeah,
in the what is that in the public school system?
absolutely.
The private school system and charter school system, I don't think it's as big of a deal.
No, it is not. And so I wasn't looking at charters, and I'm not closed off or anything like that. But I'm just gonna do it for myself. I know how to run a business
Yeah.
well, and so I think what I want to do is just tutor and maybe even get like a consortium of some of the best teachers, like Logan Flint. He's my homie. That my ride or die brother. You know, he's an artist, also teaches art. You know how dope it would be if we had like this little consortium of the best,
Yeah.
collected like a little tutoring spot. You know how fast your freaking minds would go through the roof?
They used to have what was the tutoring thing that they used to always have? They had commercials for it all the time when we were growing up. What was the,
I
what the heck
can't
was it called?
remember.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I do.
It's like
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
you know what I'm talking
That's some
about.
like 90s stuff right
Yeah,
there. Dude, I
like,
can't remember
what was the
that.
name of it? It's like Sylvan Learning.
Yeah.
Sylvan. It was something.
Silver Surfer?
It was no. It was like Sylvan Learning, whatever, and like every town had a designated
center.
spot. And I think ours was like Gulf Coast Community College.
Yeah.
And you would go there, and then
Yeah. What happened
parents
to that?
were paying like
Out the wazoo.
I think it was paying like $75 an hour. The tutor would only get like 30%.
$5.
You get community service hours.
Listen, man, we got a business to run here. This isn't about education.
So like, because I think my parents looked into it for me, and like, here's the thing: I'm really, really smart, but you can't prove it on paper.
Yeah.
And so,
Heard that. Heard that.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man.
But
I love that.
I did not apply myself in school at all.
That's okay.
I hated every minute of school.
Me too.
I would come home and my parents would be like, ooh, and I was like elementary school and middle school, I was like A, B, and then like something happened. I went to high school and I was just like, I don't care about this anymore.
You found out that it was anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
I'm trying not to go there, but
well, I mean, my wife.
It's tough,
dude. Well, so what? Here I am having you on, and I wanted to talk about Papa Joe's and the gun store and all this. And I didn't know we were going to be talking about education.
No, it's fine.
No, well, my wife is at FSU right now.
Nice.
She's finishing up her degree.
Go Knowles.
She got her AA and AS. She finished it up this past summer, but she like dropped out of college back when she was in her mid-20s, early 20s. And so when we moved back and we had the kids, we started talking about like, I mean, biblically, I'm the breadwinner. So I'm the one that goes to work. She stays home. She takes care of the kids, and she loves her job as being that nurturer, caregiver, teacher to our children. And we've got a very traditional lifestyle, so it's not looked at as like slavery or a burden. She actually enjoys that part of being a mom.
Yeah,
which is great. You don't see that a lot nowadays.
It's still badass to be a mother, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So like you don't have to throw any qualifiers in there. I'm just saying for me, like I think that's beautiful. So you're good.
She's had a couple of friends over, and I've said stuff like that, and they've been like, "Oh, your wife's just a slave to take care of your kids while you go and work on your career, but she hasn't worked on anything."
Those words came out of their mouths.
Yeah, exactly. She is a very successful mom. She loves being a mom. This is something she's great at. She loves it. That's why we had kids, was so we could raise them, not have the freaking education system do it for us. So anyway, I got way off topic there.
You're good.
So,
You're good.
But we started having the talk. It was back like in the spring. Now, obviously, I had my campaign that I was running and everything, and she was like, "I want to go back to school." I think we had somebody that was kind of close to us. They lost their husband just like out of nowhere. It was like motorcycle wreck, car wreck, something. And I think it was just something we heard. And then it was like that she's been nothing but a stay-at-home mom. And she didn't really have any other skills. And now she's got 2 kids to take care of. She got a life insurance policy, I'm sure, but like you shouldn't have to rely on that. So my wife was like,
That's a hell of a thought, though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
yeah. So my wife was just like, I want to go back to school. I want to
Yeah.
get my degree. I want to have a skill just in case something were to happen.
Yeah.
And so, believe it or not, she's in crime scene. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
She must know Charla then. Charla Purdue?
I have no idea.
I think
I have no
Charla
idea.
still does criminal stuff over. And when I say criminal stuff, she teaches
Yeah.
at Florida State some type
She
of criminal
probably
something.
will
or
end up
other,
going
yeah.
through her class or
Yeah.
something like that. But I know, yeah, she's into crime scene investigation.
Good
So
for
she's got
her.
her
So all that,
AAs and-
all those horrific murders she's been watching are finally going to mean something.
No doubt, dude. She watches that crazy crap. Like she'll sit here. I'll come home and she'll have like true crime on, and I'll just be sitting there, like about to throw something in the microwave after work, and I hear like,
Then they ripped the entrails out and used them as
like,
tacos.
spread them throughout the river. They've been searching for 42 hours and still
Yeah.
nothing. And they're like,
She's sitting there with a bowl of macaroni or something. She's like, what a beautiful night.
No, she crochets. She's sitting there just like crocheting and like watching this shit, and I'm like,
Hey,
bro,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no.
Check. Yeah, you keep tabs, bro. You never know. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
you know, believe it, before I went into car sales, I was in restoration, so I did post-mortem cleanup for ServPro.
Damn, man.
And yeah, and so I had done a couple of jobs here and there for that, but like, so it's kind of the running joke between us. It's always like, I know how to clean it up to make it look like it never happens.
Oh yeah.
And, you know.
Good. I need somebody like
And
that
then
too.
on top
though.
of that, you
Yeah.
know, I was an infantry guy.
Yeah,
I could
did a little bit of wet work.
I could definitely kill someone from like 820 yards away for sure. Like,
Yeah. See, you guys are a power couple. That's it.
right?
You guys
yeah.
are a power couple.
I'm gonna have to edit some of this out.
It's okay. Good. It's like, holy crap, what are they talking about?
Yeah. But no, yeah, no. So she started back at school, and it's so funny because, she went back to school using my VA benefits,
Mm-hmm.
and to see how college works pisses me off more than anything, because they were trying to. Originally, they had told her that she only had to take like an extra 3 classes to get her AA or AS or whatever, and then it changed to 4. And then it was like, oh, yeah, you got to have this. And she's like, well, hold on. This is what was told to me. And they're like, oh, and then they just started throwing in these extra things to like take extra classes. And I told her, I was like, no, dude, like college is, I feel like they take advantage, especially not just of prior service or veterans, but also they just take advantage of everybody.
Correct.
When they sit there and they say, it's kind of like, I want to go get my business degree. And you show up and they're like, okay, cool. You have to take, you have to take foreign language. And it's like, I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn another language. I speak English. I care nothing about speaking in there. Well, no, it's a requirement. And it's like, why is that a requirement? I don't know. And then it's like, oh, it's a requirement to take your humanities or whatever. And it's like, I don't care where the frescoes are. I don't care how they put them together. I don't care about linear art and all that bullcrap. And they're like, it's just a prerequisite. And it's like, you're taking money though for these courses and these classes. And this is how I know college is kind of, and I hate to say it, but it's kind of a scam. And the reason why is because I have a buddy right now that's in med school. And I asked him this question a couple years ago.
I'll say that med school and all that is probably the number one. It's most horrible.
Well, so I'm about to prove my point. I don't want a medical degree. I don't want to become a doctor. I don't want whatever. But let's just say for the hell of it.
Sure.
I want to take some class at the medical school, and I want to learn about arteries or something, right? And I want to take a specific class, and I go to that college and say, hey, I want to take this class. I'll pay for it. And they go, nope, got to have a prerequisite. You got to have a bachelor's degree to take it. You You got to have this. You got to have that. And it's like, I will pay specifically for that class. I just want to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking to get a degree. I won't do it. You can't do it at Gulf Coast either. And you can't do it at Florida State. You can't do it at any college. Why? If I don't care about getting a degree and I don't care about any of that stuff and I just want to go to that class, I want to learn. Heck, even if you could say, they don't have to grade my work. I literally just want to go to that class and I want to learn about that. If you sit there and you say something is all about education and it's all about the learning experience, because the way that I look at things at this point is you just pay for degrees.
Correct.
I don't believe that there's really, I mean, there's arguments there that can be made, but I mean,
knowledge is everywhere. And it is, if you're going to get a good education, it is highly dependent upon your instructors. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the percentage of instructors that are going to be transformative in your life,
yeah.
I bet you is low. You know, that's just the way it is. College is a business, though.
Yeah.
Again, back to the business stuff. I think a lot of humanity is functioning in black and white and treating their fellow man like nothing other than, I don't know, a number. I think that's been an overarching theme through all the systems. I think all of our systems are, most of our systems are corrupt, defunct, or in some type of dysfunction. Emil Durkheim is the father of sociology, and so what he did was he's sorry. He's
pushed the microphone.
Yeah. Hello. He split up all the social sciences. So he split up, politics, government, psychology, religion, philosophy. Because it used to be where it was all studied as one. It was very, very hard to digest all that. It's human behavior. But what he said was that deviance is a effect of systems that can no longer be trusted anymore. It's a theory of deviancy is actually what it's called by Emil Durkheim. But as our systems get more corrupt, more unworthy of trust, the public's trust, then you're going to see instances of deviancy that are far outside of the norm, i.e. 2 presidential assassinations in 1 year. That is, as a historian, that it absolutely that shakes me, because I go, oh, that means way more stuff, and it's not common in our country either. Other systems that are in distrust, FBI, right?
God.
Well,
you had to work with the being at the gun store.
I
ATF.
thought, right. So I thought that I knew about federal overreach when I was teaching. I had no idea until I started selling guns, homie. That's for sure. Yeah, yeah. Those boys, they hate freedom. Yeah, absolutely. I'll just say it. But those systems are no longer worthy of our trust. A lot of them. And so when that starts happening, your society is going to reflect it. You're going to have these deviants that come in, and we're all deviant to a certain degree, but like, how far out is it going to be? Well, we see just how far out it is. It isn't. Emil said that it was, a borderline measurement from the systems that you could trust. Because why aren't things the way that they used to be? Look at the way that the systems functioned back in the day. Even the 90s, locally here, was even better somehow. And we had higher levels of racism, but still the systems and the people were happy. Isn't that weird? People were still happier under their time scales of oppression for their eras than they were compared to now, because at least their systems were still more trustworthy.
Yeah.
That's weird to think about, right? So when people talk about oppression and all these changes and stuff, I'm just kind of like, I mean, it's not all that. It's very gray, man. You know. But geez, yeah. Emil Durkheim definitely. He's great.
Yeah,
he's great. He, like I said, he's the father of social science. But that college that you're talking about doesn't exist anymore. I think that if they are going to make themselves like businesses and propagate this idea that they have the best education by charging these ungodly amounts in the same way that hospitals charge ungodly amounts for pharmaceuticals that do not cost that much, and those master lists
Yeah.
need to be redesigned because that system is horrible as well to our people, then the state should remove funding from colleges and let them function as a business if that's how they want to do it, because that's the American way, is it not?
Yeah.
Let's let the best colleges win. Fine, then. Let's see what you got.
Yeah. Well, not to mention, we've even seen high scrutiny at some of these Ivy League schools right now, just based on, like, they sit there and they say that they want free thinkers, and we want to design and we want to develop a country that is based on innovation, and we want to see these, not just skills go through the roof, but that whole
Beliefs.
but also we want to keep. It's kind of like the old. I think I can't remember what comedian. I think it was a Joe Rogan joke. It was like, the only thing that we have now are people that have memorized things that smart people came up with. We don't really, like, for example, and I think the joke was like, I'm gonna toss you out in the woods, out in the middle of nowhere, with nothing but a knife and a hammer. How long until you can send me an email? Like, like take the smartest person in the freaking world, and make it happen. And it's like, we don't really have that anymore, and stuff is supposed to be building and it's supposed to be getting greater. But the only thing that is getting greater is innovative ideas to take out people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, I swear to God, I don't go to Walmart anymore. Oh, wait, no, I don't. Where was it? Any store that has more self checkouts than an actual, and I know this is going to sound stupid, than an actual belt, I won't go there. I will not. I refuse to shop.
It looks
there.
so much better though in there. Listen.
But it's the.
Is it the Walmart on 23rd? They redid that one. Dude, it's so beautiful.
First of all, I try not to go into a Walmart.
I know. Like, me too.
But
when we started going to Target, I knew that we were in a different class. I'm serious. Like, that's when you know you're like, oh, I can afford the up and up. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's. I'll tell you a funny story. I haven't told this to anybody since. I was gonna tell this story to Daniel Raffield.
Yeah.
The other day, I was on the phone with him. It was a couple weeks ago. I wanted to tell him this because we were talking about my campaign, and how I really hammered Facebook with memes and the stupid videos and everything. And so I got asked. It was like a small podcast. This guy did a pod. Actually, that's a crazy story in itself. There's a guy that did a podcast with me, and it was like 30 minutes long, and I thought everything went great. And then afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, man, all I need is a publishing fee of $350 and all this." He didn't tell me this until after we recorded, and I told this story that I'm about to tell you. But he had asked me,
"Who is this guy?" You know what I mean?
I'll tell you after. But
$350. Anyway,
$350. I was like, did I give you $350?
Oh, hold on, man.
You got 1,500 followers. I got like.
Yeah. Let me cut you a check real quick.
Yeah. But so I was headed home. This guy asked me. He goes, what made you want to start doing videos and these, like, they're comical memes and all of this? What made you want to go that route? Well, the first answer was I was sick and tired of seeing Daniel Raffield signs everywhere, and like, they were just every fucking where.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
And I like I can't keep up with it because I didn't have enough money, and so it was getting under my skin. And I was like, well, this would be a good way to get under his skin. It worked. He let me know pretty quick. Good. I was like, good. I don't like seeing your signs. You don't like seeing my videos. So he blocked me on Facebook.
That's how it gets, man.
But so I got asked on this podcast. So this is what I told him, and I told him that, and then I said, there's another reason why I started doing it. And he said, yeah. And I said, a lot of people don't go to forums and they don't go to debates. But
Mhm.
everybody pretty much has a Facebook. There are more phones with social media walking around than you will ever find.
Mhm.
But so I stopped by Piggly Wiggly one day.
Hoggly woggly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on my way, and I'm not. I
First
shop,
of all, great decision.
I shop there every once in a while.
It's a great place.
Normally, I go down 23rd Street. There's a car wreck on the overpass, so I couldn't go down 23rd Street coming from the base.
Yeah.
So I just kept going straight on 15th Street.
Yeah.
That's why I went to Piggly Wiggly.
They have great vegetables there, man, and meat.
So actually, believe it or
Piggly
not,
Wiggly.
yeah. Actually, hear from our sponsor. We're talking about Piggly Wiggly. No, so I stopped by there for okra and corn because we were doing like a Southern style dinner one night, and so I was by the okra. So like you can see catty corner from the okra section, and you can see the peanut butter aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this guy, and he was standing, and he was looking at. He was an older gentleman. He was looking at all the different types of peanut butter, and he's like, I mean, of course, you got Peter Pan, you got Jif, you got peanut, like, you got their brand, Piggly Wiggly brand.
Hoggly Wog, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different types of peanut butter.
The Hog's Peanut.
I watched this dude pick up a peanut butter jar, took it down, took the cap off, took the seal off, took 2 fingers, and just, I'm like, he looked around before he did it. He looked around to see if anybody was looking. And I was kind of like over behind.
He violated a jar of peanut butter in public.
I'm kind of like over behind like the
My
corn,
gosh.
and I'm like looking over, and he's like he sat there and tasted it. I literally watched this dude do this. He went,
oh well, you know.
Put the cap back on, and he put it back up on the shelf.
That's a crime.
So I told this to that guy. I also told this to a family at O'Charlie's one night about it. And the lady looks at me and she goes, "That's disgusting." And I was like, "He's a voter."
That's right. That's right.
And some of the best advice that I was given when I was running was from Bo Bishop. And he told me, he goes, "Dude, if people are going to vote for you, or people are going to vote for people for stupid things, they make things stupid." So I made my platform pretty much from there on out was like, that's the type of people. I mean, that's the type of people that I'm after.
I love it. I love it. You knew it. You knew it, and you owned up to it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
True story though. Yeah. When he did that, I went, "Oh no!" And the dude looked over at me, and he took the peanut butter down, and he put it in his car. And I was like, "That's disgusting."
I feel bad for the peanut butter. I want justice for the jar. Justice for the jar.
Dude, I mean, this is the type of, but I'm serious though. Like,
it's disgusting.
Bro, this is what I thought about. What if I didn't see that?
It's okay.
And I went over there.
And you tried it?
And I picked up the peanut butter because I was like,
and you took it home?
And I took it home, and I came home, and there's 2 finger marks.
I got one. Okay.
My wife opens it up, and she's going to like make my kids peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And she's like, "Babe, why did you stick your fingers in that?" Blah, 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 blah.
Here's one twisted for you. And your wife would be fine because you can.
Do you know the percentage of men that don't wash their hands after they take a leak?
Peanut butter's good for you though, so wouldn't it cancel it out? I'm kidding. But Becca comes home with a half gallon of milk from CVS, right outside of the cove right there. She goes, "I think there's a leak." I was like, "Oh man." She goes, "What the?" Squeeze the bottle. It was a hypodermic pinprick into the side of it. And it was, bro, and this is not a lie. And it went, I said, "Take that thing back to them and show them immediately." Because that looks like somebody's trying to mess with somebody. So squeeze your milk. If it's a plastic carton, like, dude, that's the first time I've ever seen something like that. And it could have been something innocent, but oh my
dude, there's some screwy people out there that do
sabotage. saboteurs.
We have people out there that really
They're
do
twisted, man. They're
like
twisted. They want pain for others.
I mean, oof.
Stupid, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway.
But anyway, I had to tell you about that because it went back into just like what our society is now. We
Mm-hmm.
also we live in a society that everything has to be right now.
Yeah.
Nobody can wait for the end result on anything. Everything, you know, dude. I made the comment. I think it was Alan that I had on. We were talking about like how malls have just kind of like gone under,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of was thinking about CNG because we were talking about how like buy local,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like sometimes it's just such a convenience thing where right like I see a shirt that I like and then I immediately go online and order it,
Mm-hmm.
or oh hey I need like all the way down to Dearborn. Like you can just
Oh
sit there and
yeah.
order online. It comes to my doorstep. I never have to drive anywhere. I can just go straight home, straight to work. And really, in all reality, that's what the government wants anyway. They just want you to go to work, go home, go to work, go home, go to work, go home. They want a society of workers, not innovative thinkers. And that goes back into what we are talking about with colleges. But so,
We need to teach a different lesson. That'll be my the kind of the ending point with that is, and there's another book because you're right. A lot of information's already been learned. We just really need to rediscover some things, and stop thinking of ourselves so highly, as well. But I think humility is a big part of leadership. A massive amount of humility. But the bike, I always go back to this. Uh, we practice the Prussian model of education. It's an older model, probably what 1840s, 1820s. We were trying to adjust to the Industrial Revolution. We needed workers, and we needed people that could measure. There were people with basic skills they just did not have. So, adopt the Prussian model, arithmetic. Get it in the schools, yada yada yada. They still have not changed that model. In fact, now the corporations, are utilizing that model to their benefit to make even more, um, we'll say, mindless, whatever, workers. But the model is, how to ride a bike. So let's say I'm teaching you how to ride a bike. I give you all these handouts on all the pieces, the chain, um, how they're arranged. You take a vocabulary test and you ace that whole test. You know all the freaking parts of that bike. You've got it down. You can even, arrange it correctly, color it in. We can even do equations for the gear ratios if you want, and we'll pass you on that. Man, you're killing your bike test, man. Yeah. Now we're going to go to the very end of the year and we're going to give you a physical bike of which you've never actually seen or put your hands on. Put it together and make it work. Doubtful, right?
mm-hmm.
The kid has never even seen a damn bike the whole time, and we're saying you need to be, developing these skills, or you need to be developing these ideas of learning or schools of thought, and they're never actually applied. So we need more skills. We don't need,
Yeah.
more ideology.
Yeah.
Um, we need more expression. Um,
It was one of the things that
just art, yes, absolutely. Like I full on expression, music, all of those things. But it's, oh man.
well it goes look at and obviously this is the 850 podcast, so for Bay County,
Mm-hmm.
um man dude, it's just like
A little vapid.
we're going in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I have been a bar back, I've been a bartender, I've been a food runner, I've been a waiter,
Mm-hmm.
I've been a in um,
We need cooler places.
well, it's not just cooler places though. My point is to that is like right now, if just randomly go to Pier Park and find a local, ask them what they do here.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are They're going to be now the trades that we have here are not bad paying trades.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have very high wage paying jobs because I think the average,
Like 38 or 38 a little.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it is.
We're
it
close
is
to the
38.
ball.
Well, there's
Mostly.
an average, and then there's a median,
Yeah.
and then it's like that's the reason why Daniel had said in our first forum, he was like, if you're not making $100,000 a year, it's life
You're
is
suffering.
hard. You're suffering,
Mm-hmm.
and he's 100% right on that. But all the jobs that he backed to bring here to Bay County don't pay $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
None of them do. When you start talking about the hospitality industry and stuff like that, I know a girl right now. She works for one of the major condos on the beach. She's a manager.
Mm-hmm.
She makes like $42,000 a year. She's a manager.
Mm-hmm.
She's over teams of people. She's got 4 kids. Yeah. Now her husband works, or her boyfriend works, or whatever. But it's the whole thing of like, dude, they're not making $100,000 a year, and he's an electrician. So I mean, it's like life is really, really hard on them. And so how do you, that's the reason why I said like jobs that are more structured towards using this instead of these pay more. You're always going to need hands. You're always going to need those jobs. And as long as it's skilled labor, then you could start charging more, but people that make beds for a living, they're not doing that job because they necessarily want to be there. They're doing that job because it's a job that's going to pay the bills.
Consistency. Yeah. They got consistency.
Here in Bay County, Tyndall Air Force Base, dude, I just drove out there. I shop at the commissary once a month. I go out there and grocery shopping. And so I went out there this past weekend, and it's blowing up. I mean, dude, structures are going up like crazy out there. And I'm just looking around. I'm like, this is so great. How are we going to capitalize on the civilian sector of this?
From a local standpoint or from tourism?
And from a local standpoint, what I mean by that is with those types of like military installations that come in, the contract work, especially with that being a training base, dude, there's going to be a ton and are we going to outsource it? Guaranteed we will, because I work at the Navy base and we do it every day. We outsource stuff to so many different, I can't name them all. I can only name the ones that are on my project. Start looking into Louisiana, Virginia, Boston, Massachusetts, all these companies. Hardly any of the companies that offer like civilian contracting positions here are from here. They're all from out of state.
Satellite.
And it's like, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's hard to get into that business. No, it is not. And then a lot of like manufacturing, we have everything to be able to get manufacturing set up here for a lot of the projects that even happen at the Navy base. Are we going to be doing it for the Air Force base? You're not even doing it with one base now. So it's like we are losing a ton of good paying jobs for our citizens here in Bay County. And nobody gives a shit. And it pisses me off because I have to see the other side of it. When I gotta talk to somebody from Indiana and they're sitting there talking about, yeah, we're sending in all this. And I'm like, why aren't we building that here? Why? And it's like, it's because nobody's going after that. And it's like, well, from a county commission, when it comes to economic development and working with the EDC, absolutely, it's their job to stay on top of that and bring that here. And that was kind of like my whole platform when I ran. And it was like, nobody cared about that. It was like, and then you got people that are talking about beautification. Let's straighten up the telephone poles. Let's get more parks. Let's spend more money. And I'm going, there are 3 things that Bay County is not short on. Gas stations, banks, and grocery stores.
Correct.
You have more banks here. You have so many places to put your money, but nowhere to make it. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all about like, being self-made and getting your business started and stuff like
Sure.
that. But like there are people out there that we can have a lot. We have the ability with a rail system. We have the ability to make a lot of things.
You see the school district's budget after the exit of the previous?
Pretty big.
Yeah. Absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
Biggest, largest employer.
Right.
The Bay District school system.
And held on to that and giving raises to teachers who are suffering for how many years? So that's what you're dealing with. That's what we as a community are dealing with, or individuals who may be making decisions based off of their own, selfish reasons as compared to actually being for the people. We need better representation. I think that's obvious. We need to take care of our boots on the ground people.
Yeah.
The workers, whether it's Royal American or if they're working for the city or whoever those guys are. One of the things I loved doing when I was downtown, when they were working on the road, and it screwed us up, man. I mean, it was bad. We took an over $30,000 hit that year because our intersection was shut down during hunting season.
All of that cobblestone.
And somehow we still survived, bro. You know what I mean? So like, but I would go out there and I'd talk to those boys and I'd give them donuts from Danny Donuts. I'd have, full things. God bless you guys, man. Just keep going. That's what needs to keep happening is the guys working hard on the ground consistently. And then the people that are doing the dreaming being held accountable to different goal objectives, whatever that is, make a decision. That's another thing that a big lesson in business was it's not about the decision isn't what's important many times. Just make a freaking decision.
Yeah.
Make a decision, damn it. Like, do it now.
Why are you just kicking the can down the road?
Bingo. If you want to run from any accountability, then you're not the right one. That's just the way it is. Like, we deal with you as a man, that's what you do. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the way it is. So I think we do have an accountability problem. In Bay County and in our nation, there is now becoming a trend of wanting to point at this, that, or the other in the other system. And this, and it's like, no, you're going to sign off for what you've done, what you've absorbed at the end of this. None of us are getting out of this alive. Yeah. Like, stop it. There's kind of
right. But I think we're teaching that in schools though. Right?
Yeah, correct. As well. Now, Bay County is actually not doing too bad. I'll tell you, like there are great schools here, but by benefit of the teachers that are in them, they're not great school. Am I correct? What's up?
No, I was just checking it out.
Okay.
I look over there every once in a while just to make sure that things are good.
You guys trying to cut me out over here? But I'm not sure if I'll get back. To the pub, maybe I'll get back for a little bit to score some more retirement or something. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about Papa Joe's.
Yeah.
All right. So we kind of, dude, we went off.
It's okay.
Radical.
It's okay.
Start talking about.
Yeah.
The only thing we left out was Rockefeller.
Yeah, exactly, man. Freaking lizard people, the reptilians, the Zetas.
But so okay. Would you say you got?
I'm having a great time.
So,
yeah,
I went down there to sit.
It took me 5 weeks, like almost borderline 5 weeks, to accept the job because I wanted to make the right decision. Right? Like I almost, I did go broke. I probably sold like 5 guns. I call it La Croix.
La Croix?
Because it pisses my wife off.
Yeah, my wife drinks.
You want a La Croix?
I don't like La Croix. I gotta let that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I like the Liquid Death. I like that better.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
Yeah, it's got skulls on it. That's the reason why the first time.
It says bury it alive. You know what I mean? I can get on that.
Yeah.
And good on you for not drinking, man. That's tough.
Well, I say that I've reduced the drinking because I did a whole episode where we did all the beers from Bay County. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
From the so dude, I had one of my Army buddies on. He just got back from selection not too long ago.
But yeah, drop the pickleball courts. We've got the Grand Mirror. It's our boat, full bar, seats over 100. We do, when it's the high season, we do 3 tours a day. So you do 2 tours to the island,
Wait,
and
you
then
guys,
one
wait, wait,
sunset.
wait, wait,
We
wait.
got our own little cruise ship,
You guys have
the Grand Mayor.
you guys have transportation to the island?
That's right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
When did
we're
they
a
start that?
livery. We're a livery. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago.
No,
Am I too loud?
no. Yeah, just put it as
Okay,
close. Put it that close to your mouth. That way I can turn it down.
that's what she
You're
said.
good.
Um, no, I think they've been running the boat for 3 years, but it used to be the old Ashley Gorman, belonged to the Gorman family. David bought it and turned it into this fun little cruise vessel that seats over 100 people. But yeah, 2 tours to the island and then a sunset cruise. Then we also rent pontoons. We've got the White House on the east end of the property that we're going to be updating. Um, on the east end of the property, we still offer for venue space, uh, weddings, whatever, parties. We're having a barbecue brawl. I'm want to be doing a pumpkin patch thing soon out there. I've
Oh, you
also,
really? You're
yeah.
doing something for
Oh
Halloween and all
yeah,
that?
night market. We started night market on Saturday, so every Saturday we do kind of like a farmers market, but at night, so it's not as hot. Then you have a live band. You got the food trucks. It's like a little city.
Oh, dude, we're gonna be up
It's
there.
beautiful. It's freaking beautiful.
That's awesome.
We allow pets. We love families. The Bay. God is in nature, and it has been one of the most therapeutic experiences of my life to sit on St. Andrews Bay and be able to be gifted the time to process all this stuff so that I can be successful. And I'll forever be grateful to David Chapman for that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful out there. I've seen baby dolphin. I've seen manatees, sea turtle. There were some sea otters out there during the storm the other day playing. I've never seen sea otters. There's something special out there in that bay. And the tides are so extreme that the kids can walk out there, make their own little sand castle. And then as the tide comes back in, they can watch it get washed away, and they won't get washed away with it at all because it's just that shallow right there. The sharks can't get back, so you can watch your kids play in the sand safely. It's tucked back so far off 98 that you don't hear the traffic and you don't feel like anybody's watching you. It is one of the most serene feelings out there, man. And it is a slice of historic Bay County. So I've had FWC out there, biologists looking at some of the wildlife. I think what I want to do is drop a reef ball and then create like a little diving platform so that kids can just basically pop off without a tank or anything, look at our local ecology, have a good time, almost like Bay County's own Disney World.
Yeah.
Then Royal American has assets. I want to say in some amusement parks, historic amusement parks that we've had on the beach. It'd be badass if we could drop some bumper cars or something funky out there too,
You got ideas for this place, man.
Absolutely. It needs to happen because the interactions.
Though, I think that's good too, and I'm not trying to interrupt.
No,
but,
you're good. Yeah.
St. Andrews, bro. There's like freaking nothing there, man. There's nothing to, and the fact that you're saying all this, I'm like, man, I didn't even know half that stuff is there. Like, Nia and I with our kids, man, it's like, it is a ongoing battle where it's like Friday night comes up. What are we going to go do?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, go play putt-putt. We can go to Rocket Lanes and bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We can go, everything's on the beach.
Nope.
The fact that you're bringing it to this side and you're putting it in St. Andrews, dude,
I want to welcome to Panama City sign. I think that's the corridor right there. Yeah. We got to slow it down because that's still one of the deadliest stretches of road in Bay County is that stretch of road. Pedestrians get killed there way too much. And it's because the road's too damn wide. And people are like, all right, it's time to take the off. And
well, it's kind of funny because Papa Joe's right there.
It's suicide turn, man.
Sit there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm okay with them sitting there. I love it.
Bridge. I'm like 70 miles an hour. I'm like, woo!
Yeah. Get him! Oh. Get that mother!
Oh shit!
Get him! Get him!
I know that they're either watching Netflix or something, but I know that I've probably woke a couple of them up.
Oh yeah,
they've got to be laughing their ass off too. He's just like,
permission to do a flyby. Permission to do a flyby.
I got a '68 Mustang.
Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's got old drum brakes in it, so when you step on the brakes, that it squeals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened there coming down the thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that corridor, Papa Joe, where you're right, where it's situated, you don't have to go, and it's private. It's a private beach for Bay County residents.
Dude, I
So
grew up right there.
yeah, dude,
That's awesome.
canopies being right there, like, and there are other plans in the works, man. Like, oh man, for instance, one of my first meetings after I got hired, I ended up having to meet David at No Name, and we were all sitting right there inside of it with DOT, and then some structural engineers, myself and David, right? And David asked the engineers, he goes, "All right, so what is it going to take to pick this thing up and drop it over here?"
What was he trying to pick up?
No Name. We were going to pick it up. We are going to chop the top of it off so that it could go under the 98 sign that's right there on the bridge, because it would cost 20 grand just to have the sign removed so we could move it. But we were gonna we thought about taking it,
move the structure,
the whole building, and then we were gonna drop it on our grounds and then redo the whole interior. And then because we were thinking that it would be good to have kind of a legacy building there,
This is way too much money to fuck around with.
Well,
that's too much money. Holy crap! I mean,
it's worth it. It's worth
it. Because, and sorry again, but
no, you're okay.
No Name is super historic,
but it didn't make the cut, and it demoed. Well, I'm not.
Did it make sense though, or
I'm not sure if it will ever make sense.
It would have been badass if you could have made it happen. But dang, dude, that is.
We were very close to, just to give you an idea of the motivation to make that spot, though, what we really believe it should be for the community, so that mom and dad can have a drink, watch a live band, and rest well, knowing that Jack and Jill are right down there having a great time on the dunes. Our residents deserve that. It just. The interactions post-COVID of people that need to happen.
Yeah.
Bro, we were shoved into our own little pockets of isolation, and we developed our own psychological disorders out of that too. So it's complex. The more fellowship we can have, the healthier our community will become. And then, some of those systems we can correct, but those conversations will never happen if we don't give outlets for it. It screwed up so much stuff.
More than anything, though, COVID promoted laziness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, bro,
you don't have to do anything today. I'm just gonna stay home.
Just that. Well, dude, don't get me started.
Why don't you just stay home?
I came out of the military at the beginning
April
of when no, I got out of the military in June.
Okay.
Or sorry, July.
Okay.
And had come back home, started working on base, and it was like, dude, but still, like, so when I moved back from Tampa last year, was it last year? Whatever, last January, not this past January, the last one. I went to go work for this like small startup, and they're pretty green there.
Yeah,
like, they were just getting their start. A couple of the PMs had been around for a little while on base doing a couple things, and so I was on this project. But like the workers that they were hiring were like these. Some of them were like college age. And then I don't know, it was kind of like a mix, but like it was all of these people who just and I'm blaming it on COVID but it's like our production over long periods of time start to be acceptable. And that's not acceptable with me. Just my personality is like, when you give me something to do, first of all, be specific about it. Second of all, like, we have a plan to get it done, and it gets done. And then on top of that, then you got to add this woke, left-wing, weird ideology of like no accountability. So when somebody screws up and and you're like, well, and then it's like, hey, I told you that I needed that done by Friday, and it's Friday, it's not done. You're not going home till it's done. And then your boss calls you in and goes, "Hey, I know you oversee all this, but you can't talk to people like that." It's like, I didn't cuss at him. I didn't yell. I just said it was like this. And it's like, you can't do that here. And it's like, see ya. Like, dude,
No.
like I can't do that kind of stuff.
No.
But COVID did so much of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand that COVID promoted a lot of those types of behaviors where like people were teleworking. Like, I don't think I've worked at any place so far where I haven't heard somebody go, do you think I can telework? And it's like, what freaking for, dude?
Why?
Like, it's so like
now they're looked at. Now when people say that, I look at them like, "What's up, man? You got problems?"
Yeah.
You know, like if you're a true,
I'm just like,
if you're a true shut in, or like, you know, maybe you're a mother and you're running a business. I get all the other exceptions, but
yeah,
nah.
Transitioning was not easy for me from the military life.
Yeah,
I'm still going through it.
Yeah,
because it's like
your program, bro.
It's very well.
And I'm not saying that in a disparaging way. No, I love that you're a machine.
No,
you know what I mean?
I love the fact that when I go into work, it's like, nope, we're getting this done. This is how it's going to work. This is how it works.
Yeah.
Boom. Let's make it happen.
Bingo. We
mission. Make a game plan, execute.
Great.
It's like, but a lot of these people are like, we make a game plan and then you go execute. And it's like, well, let's put up these barriers that are here just because, you know, we don't want to be productive that quick or, you know, I've got this going on or that going on. And it's like, I don't care.
No time like the present.
Everybody has a birthday. Everybody has an anniversary. Every year has a Christmas. Every year has a Thanksgiving. Whatever.
No time like the present.
But bro, like we got to get this done.
That's been one of the things that has pissed me off so much as well, dude. I constantly say that Bay County is in the World Series. I think we still are in the World Series right now, and I mean that with like so much love. Like our spot is blowing up. Things will improve here. But not if we make the wrong plays on the freaking field. You know, if we're game 7, you know, or maybe we're game 6 right now and we've got a little leeway, but you can't have any more sloppy plays. We can't have any more public officials stealing the public's money. We can't have any more dragging our feet and on dreaming and not putting any boots on the ground. We can't have any. We need to do it. Again, we're not getting out of this alive. What game do you think we're playing? What time do you think we have? Yeah. I've never understood that thing. I understand that I need to be patient and loving with myself. I get that. Like that way I don't get too pumped up, but we're out here to, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like it's very much like who's going to build the boats. It is very much like that, you know, like I don't have time for that. And then I don't have time for those people with that energy either. That's another lesson is like, if you're not about it, I'm a strong empath, man. That's one thing I've learned to finally own up to is I can really connect fast. And I guess that's why I'm a good salesman or a good teacher or whatever is I can give a fuck about the person in front of me, truly be invested in them, and then walk away without absorbing anything.
Yeah.
And enjoy the rest of the day. And not talk shit about them and not
that type of attitude though, right there, dude. Papa Joe's, St. Andrews, Panama City. That's what we need.
Thanks, man.
We don't have enough. We don't have enough Nathans and we don't have enough Allens. We're creating them though.
Yeah.
They're coming out.
Yeah.
They're coming out of hiding.
God bless you, man.
They're like, oh yeah, hey. We could freaking be productive today.
Yeah, we could do something if you want.
Do something like, and
but you're right.
So